recording, please. Well, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Monday, August 14th City Council meeting of 2023. Time is 5:33 p.m. I will do a roll call from my far left. Councilmember Wook.
Here.
Councilmember Storsett.
Here.
Councilmember Rodenberg.
Here.
Councilmember Likens. Here. Councilmember Henderson.
Here.
Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Councilmember Barber.
Here.
Great. If you could all please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Just a quick reminder to please silence your cell phones, ring and notifications, please. Thank you so much. Before we begin this council meeting, we would like to recognize that we are gathered on not only the ancestral and traditional lands of the Squabosh Band of the Puyallup Tribe of Indians, but also on the site of one of the largest and longest standing historic villages of their people, the original inhabitants of the Gig Harbor area. Council, are there any changes to the agenda this evening? Councilmember Wook.
Yes, I'd like to pull item number 3 off the consent agenda, please.
Okay. Okay, so we will come back to that after our presentations. Unless we need to address that now. Do we need to address it now?
No, we can wait to address that until consent agenda.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we have several presentations this evening, which is why there are so many of you here. I'm very happy to have you. The first one is a presentation of life-saving awards and presented by our Chief of Police, who's already up here, very efficient. Kelly Busey, our Chief. Welcome and thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to call forward Officer Hector Eddie Dominguez and Detective Sergeant Trey Federici.
Good evening.
Stand right here for me. So we're here to present some life-saving awards, and it's kind of bittersweet to do that, right? Because in order to present somebody with a life-saving award, it means that somebody has potentially faced a crisis or a life-threatening event. But we do want to recognize the excellent work of these two officers in two different incidents. Before I get into the first one, though, with Officer Dominguez, I'll tell you he had an interesting 2 days prior to the event that I'll describe in a moment. It was the night before that he responded to a very serious car accident on Highway 16, in which he pulled the driver from the upside down car who was entangled in their seatbelt and being covered with gasoline out of the car, and got him some medical aid treatment going right away. So it was exceptional work that didn't quite meet the life-saving criteria, but was notable anyway. So we'll follow that up the very next shift on July 12th, 2023 at approximately 1:15 a.m. South Sound 911 dispatched advised of a suspicious and possible suicidal person on the Narrows Bridge. Further, dispatch indicated that no Washington State Patrol or Pierce County units were available to respond. You answered the call. Upon arriving in the area, you located a lone female on the sidewalk of the bridge and realized that she was attempting to climb over the railing, likely to her peril. You quickly exited your patrol car, ran towards the woman, reaching her before she could make it over the railing. Not only did you physically prevent her from taking her own life, but a review of the camera footage also reveals that you showed great compassion and calmness in dealing with a distraught woman. Very proud of you for that. Without a doubt, if you had not answered this call in a timely manner and acted decisively, the woman would not be with us today. For these efforts, I authorize you to wear the department life-saving ribbon on your uniform. Now, I'm not giving Officer Dominguez another ribbon because he's already earned 2 of these for prior incidents. So nice job, Officer Dominguez. Thank you very much. On, I guess, a commentary maybe to the mental health in our society, we had another similar incident that occurred in July. On July 12th, Detective Sergeant Federici at approximately 1:15 p.m. South Sound 911 dispatch advised of a suspicious and possibly suicidal person again on the Narrows Bridge. Further, dispatch indicated that no Washington State Patrol or Pierce County units were available to respond. I'll note that at that time, we were having a fire here at Willachet and 16, and all of our patrol units were tied up with that. So Detective Sergeant Federici answered that call. Upon arriving in the area, you located a lone female on the sidewalk of the bridge and realized, a lone male, I'm sorry, on the sidewalk of the bridge and realized that he was attempting to climb over the railing. You quickly exited your patrol car and ran towards him. He threw some of his own personal items over the bridge in what could be deemed a final act. And Sergeant Federici reached him just in time before he himself got over the rail and was able to subdue him and escort him off the bridge, where he was met by some patrol officers. Again, without a doubt, if you hadn't answered this call and been aware of what's going on around you in the patrol division, something bad may have happened. So we got the person some resources, and for those efforts, I also authorize you to wear the department life-saving ribbon on your uniform, and have one of those right here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Wow, we had to start with a tearjerker, right? Because that is very emotional. I am so very proud of our police department. I am every one of them is exceptional, and they go beyond the call of duty many times. And so I'm just very grateful for them. Thank you for showing them so much honor and love tonight. So our second presentation is a presentation of the 2022 Outstanding Achievement Award to the Gig Harbor Wastewater Treatment Plant. And we have received 16 awards out of the past 17 years, from 2006 to 2022. Minus 2016, and the only reason for that was because we were in the process of creating a Department of Ecology required O&M manual for the new equipment and processes after we upgraded the plant. So it wasn't because they did not have outstanding performance, it was simply a paperwork issue. But I am so proud of our wastewater treatment plant. They keep our water very clean, and they treat everything with excellence. And I'm so proud of all of you. I'm so glad so many of you could come. Yay. Thanks for being here. So I am going to read, I'm going to not read this plaque. I'm going to give this plaque to you. But first, I'd like to see if you'd like to say anything about you and your amazing crew.
Sure. Just
And this
quickly,
is
I
Chuck
want-
Roy. I'm sorry, Wastewater Treatment Plant Superintendent Chuck Roy and his crew. And I'll let you introduce everybody.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Yeah, so just a quick introduction to some of our staff who can make it tonight. Nancy Nair, Public Works Assistant, James Wilkinson, wastewater operator, and we have Nick, we've got two Nicks over here, so I don't want to get it right. Nick Topjerd, he's another one of our operators in training, so he's soon to be an operator. And we have Nick Warder, who again is a wastewater operator of ours. Those that couldn't make it, Jim Landon, our lead operator. We have Larry Washburn, our collection system technician, who also couldn't make it, obviously. Ty Davis, maintenance technician. Tyler Ellingbo, which again is the fourth of our operators that we have. And then last but not least, Jesse Troncoso, who is one of our maintenance technicians as well. So they just unfortunately couldn't make it here tonight. We are very proud. I think I speak for all of us when I say that we're very proud to receive this award tonight. It's not one that's given out freely, and it has to be earned. And to earn this award takes an entire team working together. A team that takes pride in their job, pays attention to detail, and is dedicated to doing their job right. And we have that, definitely do. I'm proud of this team and all their accomplishments over the last year. And I can assure you that we'll be diligently working to receive another award next year. So yeah, grateful for the team. And thank you all for your support as well. We couldn't do it without it. So.
You're very welcome.
Stay safe.
So I'm going to read what the plaque says, and then council and I are going to come down and present you with the plaque and take a picture. So this is Outstanding Performance Award 2022. Washington State Department of Ecology recognizes the exemplary effort and work accomplished by the city of Gig Harbor and the dedicated team at the Gig Harbor Wastewater Treatment Plant. Thank you for protecting and keeping Washington's waters clean. So that is what this says, and we'll come down and give it to you. Unless you all want to take a picture from up here, but sometimes it's easier if we all go down there. We're going to be taking many photos down there, so.
Where would you like to take a picture over here? Okay.
Thank you to our Assistant City Clerk, Tiffany Element, for taking all of our photos tonight. Greatly appreciate you doing that. Okay. Our third presentation is a proclamation recognizing the 50th anniversary of the Tides Tavern. And I'm going to read this from up here, and then we have a presentation. So I'll call you up in just one moment. I know you guys are so excited. I'm excited with you. All right. Whereas a 113-year tradition of business rendered at the People's Dock and Wharf at the foot of Soundview on Harborview Drive began with the Mosquito Fleet and the historic West Side Edinburgh Grocery, followed by Hari's, I hope I said that right, Boathouse, Herring Sales, the Ferry Tavern, and finally Three Fingered Jack's Tides Tavern. And whereas in 1973, Three Fingered Jack was seeking rescue from a floundering economy and put the Tides Tavern up for sale. And whereas in 1973, UPS graduate Peter Stanley recognized the potential of a renovated Tides Tavern to create a new image for the popular gathering place in Gig Harbor and bought the tavern. And whereas the vision of Peter Stanley, combined with the raw materials provided by George Borgen, the help of lots of friends, and the experienced carpentry of George Jameson, brought new life to a dark, dingy, and worn-out structure. And whereas by 2014, Peter Stanley's Tides Tavern had evolved into an iconic and joyous meeting place and restaurant on the water in Gig Harbor. And whereas in 2014, Peter Stanley, after 40 years at the helm, sold the Tides Tavern to his son, Dylan Stanley. And whereas under Dylan Stanley's capable leadership, the Tides Tavern is better than ever and looking toward the future. Now, therefore, I, Tracy Markley, Mayor of the City of Gig Harbor, do hereby recognize the 50th anniversary of the Tides Tavern in the City of Gig Harbor and celebrate Dylan Stanley and his Tides Tavern crew for successfully maintaining this landmark establishment. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Gig Harbor to be affixed this 14th day of August, 2023. Let's give him a hand. And I will invite you up now. Actually, We'll do photos at the end, right? Yes, okay. I'll come and give this to you in a moment, but first, I know Peter, Stanley, and Dylan, you have a presentation for us in a video, correct? And you'd like to say a few words as well? Or do you just want to show the video? Oh, you won the question. Okay, well, glad you guys worked that out. I'm so sorry. I think the mic might be off. If you can just push the little button. Did you have a green light now? You had a green light?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
That's better.
All right. Mayor Markley and council members, my dad and I are so pleased to receive this proclamation from you on the occasion of the Tides Tavern's 50th anniversary. Thank you. It honors him for starting this whole thing in 1973, and it honors me as a second generation owner for the last 12 years. It honors the thousands of employees who over the years have brought and continue to bring our old building and our business to life every morning. And it honors the legions of customers and friends who have carried Tides Tavern t-shirts to the four corners of the earth. Our heartfelt thanks. Thank you.
In 1973, I was looking for a tavern to buy in the Tacoma area, an existing tavern, because my friends and I had a vision of what a modern tavern could look like. Back in 1973, everything we found was cinder block and dark and dingy and dirty and red and black fabric and elbow benders and I mean, just miserable places, and you can't work with cinder block. And we were a little discouraged for a while until somebody recommended that we take a look at Three Finger Jacks in Gig Harbor. And I am forever grateful. Every day I'm grateful for that suggestion and for the great good fortune it brought with it. Of course, the building and the business and the location on the water in Gig Harbor are fabulous. But what has really been the high point for us over the years, what's made the last 50 years so enjoyable, has been the welcome we've received from the city of Gig Harbor and from all the, and from this community. And it's just been a joy. And we want to thank you so much for your support in not just you, but the whole community in helping us achieve our dream. Thank you. And with that, I've got a video I'd like to show you that sort of takes us from pre-opening in 1973 to today. Josh, take it away.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm going to note for the people that are watching on Zoom at home that there's no audio that's going to come through on the Zoom. We'll hear audio here, but for copyright purposes, it won't be on Zoom or on the recording. So if you just hear nothing, that's what you're supposed to hear.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Okay, buckaroos, here we go again. Gonna try and slide on by you once more. Don't matter how you do it, gonna do it like we know what we're doing. Like a pin down the road once, twice before. Come get by, my stocking tree. Living it day to day. Picking up pieces wherever they fall. Just let it roll. And I'm living life, beat the copy. Seems like only yesterday we rolled into this town. Band of pickers nobody ever heard of before. Now we're all sporting beer bellies. We got some glasses and a bunch of gray hairs. Weaving down this road. Hides my stocking tree. Living it day to day. Picking up peace wherever they fall. Just let it roll. Let the high times carry the low. And I'm living my life, easy come, easy go. All right, Brian. Living in day to day. Picking up peace wherever they fall. Just let it roll, let the high times carry the low. And I'm living my life, easy come, easy go. Gretchen Wilbur, I will say a few words.
I'm Gretchen Wilbur, and I've been coming to the Tides Tavern for 25 years. It's marvelous. We started out with the old rickety building, and Peter Stanley saved it. And it made it the most enjoyable place in Gig Harbor. We love it.
Hides my stocking tree. Living in day to day. Picking up peace wherever they fall. Just let it roll, let the high times carry the low. And I'm living my life, easy come, easy go. Well, the old dance hall's still standing. She needs some repairs. A lot of cowboy boots have slid over these boards. Well, I ain't no spring chicken either. My dance card's sure been punched. I've been down this road. Trying to be done. Buys my stocking tree. Living in day to day. It fall. Just let it roll. Living my life, easy come, easy go.
What a great video. Thanks for putting that together. Okay, council, if we'd like to make our way down again for a photo op. All right. We are getting our exercise tonight. This is great. Okay. Our final presentation of the evening, last but certainly not least, is a proclamation honoring the Gig Harbor Canoe and Kayak Racing Team for winning the 2023 ACA Sprint National Championships. I am so excited for this team. If you guys want to start making your way forward, I will read this proclamation when you guys come up. It's so nice to see so many of you. Thanks for coming. Yeah, just kind of fill the front. Oh, I love it. You just keep coming. There's like, you're multiplying. It's great. Fantastic. All right, I'm going to read the boring part and then we're going to come down and. Oh, yeah, there you go. And then Coach Allison, I know I saw you. Do you want to say a couple words before I read this? Or after? Or does it matter? Maybe they could part the sea a little bit. Maybe, yeah, maybe you could. There you go. Now I can see, it's like magic. Not really. Is that microphone? Does it have a green light on it? You are? It does. I think it's just a technical. Hold on 1 second. I'm sure you can. Everybody could hear you, I'm sure.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, there we are. Sorry. Hey, I wanted to say thank you to council members. I want to see all of you through the children. You guys have supported us so well.
We're going to
And-
come down there, guys.
Yeah, you're good. I made eye contact. We're good. I know every one of you guys have so many things on your plates and you take care of our city very well. And you're the leader of the ship. And for us to be supported by you when there's lots of other things going on means a lot. And our kids, I'm so proud of them. Like, out of all the years, they have really represented our city excellently at nationals. And some of them have already represented our city and our country at junior and U23 Worlds in Italy this past July before nationals. And at nationals, we have some who have qualified to represent us again in Poland, and we're leaving the end of this month. So these kids are amazing. And the ones in the really bright neon shirts that it's hard to look at, they are the ones who are going to be the future too. They are new kids from summer camp. They represent our new generation. So I just would like everybody here to appreciate that. We have so many generations here, including some alumni like myself, plus our coaches. We have Coach Sadie, Coach Allen, Coach Dimitri, and Coach Todd with us today. We have a few others that are not here. So I just want to say thank you to you guys, and that we should all collectively be very proud of these children and their hard work ethic. So thank you.
Thank you. Love it. All right, I will read this quickly and then we will all come down and congratulate you together. Whereas the 2023 ACA Sprint National Championships were held August 1st through 4th in Sarasota, Florida. And whereas the team championship is determined based on how members perform in races of singles, doubles, and fours. And whereas combined points for the entire team determines the national champion and teams earn points for finishing in the top 7 of each race. And whereas the Gig Harbor Canoe and Kayak Racing Team took first in the Bantam, which is under 14, Juvenile U16, and Junior U18 age groups. And whereas the Gig Harbor Canoe and Kayak Racing Team took first in the C4 division, winning the Coach Bill Bragg Trophy. And whereas the Gig Harbor Canoe and Kayak Racing Team outperformed 14 other teams from around the country with a total of 1,279.5 points and took home the championship title for the 10th time in the team's history. Now therefore, I, Tracy Markley, Mayor of the City of Gig Harbor, do hereby recognize the Gig Harbor Canoe and Kayak Racing Team and their accomplishment of coming in first place at the 2023 ACA Sprint National Championships and thank them for the honor they have brought to the City of Gig Harbor. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Gig Harbor to be affixed this 14th day of August, 2023. Congratulations, and let's come on down and shake their hand.
I'll just get in my hippies.
Okay, there's a lot.
Congratulations. Sure, yes.
Okay. Look right here. 3, 2, 1. Again, one more. 3, 2, 1. Give me a victory. 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
Oh, we're doing more. All right, she got it. No, we were walking away. Okay. All right, we got it.
Okay. Sorry.
Hey. We'll give them just a moment to exit, congratulate them on their way out. All right. All right. Give them just one more moment. Oh, yeah, maybe. Yes, thank you, Tiffany. If you could close the doors, that'd be great. Yeah, we'll just make sure anyone else in the lobby that is staying for the meeting, if you can come into council chambers, that'd be great. Okay. Well, I think that's the most fun I've ever had in a council meeting so far. That was great. So much celebration. I love it. Okay, I am now going to open public comment on consent agenda items and items not on the consent agenda. I'm assuming we're doing this and then addressing the change? Yes, okay, that's it. Okay, so we used to, a couple years ago, have a public comment sign up sheet, which we have right here. It went away for a while and we're bringing it back. It just is kind of helpful to sign in. If you did not put your name on here, don't worry. I will call anyone else up at the end that hasn't signed in, so everyone will have an opportunity to speak. But I will call in order of the names that were written down. And then those that are watching online, once we get through the public comment for the folks that are here with us in the chambers this evening, then I will call on public comment for our online audience. And thank you all for watching. I hope you could join in the celebrations with us from your Zoom screen. So the first name I have, and I'm going to try to pronounce these names correctly, so forgive me if I don't. Larry, is it Gevingen or Gevinger? Gevinger. All right, you can come forward. And if you would please state your full name and address for the record, please, and you'll have 3 minutes, and there's a timer on the screen.
All right, thank you. I'm Larry Geringer, 5014 63rd Avenue Northwest, Gig Harbor, Washington, 98335. And I'm here because of the discussion about the flag issue. And I just wanted to let you know that after spending 26 years in the military and traveling the world, my wife and I finally decided this was the place we would like to spend the rest of our lives. And it's been a great experience. I do work with the homeless veterans and volunteer as a police officer for the city of Gig Harbor, and try to be involved in as much as I can in all the civic affairs of the city. Kind of it's kind of a takeoff of what I did in the military. Being part of the community and giving back is so important. And I just want to say that all the travels that we had and everywhere we went, there was one anchor that we always had, and that was our American flag. And I believe that that single flag is the one that we should be flying and honoring and having as part of our community. I don't think there's any other one that I would want to see other than that. And I just appreciate your understanding of that. And I'm sure that there are other people who have different opinions, and they're free to have those. But as for myself and my family, we really believe that the American flag is the one that we should honor. And as you go through the process of thinking about that, I appreciate you would take into consideration that that's our position. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to remind the audience, there's no demonstration allowed. So if you could refrain from clapping or cheering or anything of the sort, that would be most appreciated. Thank you. Next commenter, John, is it Helwich? Helwick? And I'll have you say your name when you come up to make sure we get it right. And you'll have 3 minutes. And if you can state your name and address for the record.
John Helwick, 11921 10th Avenue Court Northwest, Gig Harbor, Washington, 98332. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for the Peninsula School District, overseeing our elementary programs. And so I'm here representing the school district and our 8,800 kids and their families. And I'm here to advocate for the board to consider the cultural access program and the benefits that it can have for our kids in our district. I think the impact of arts education is probably something that you're all familiar with. You know, the impacts on the brain, you know, the pride that any kid has if they find their passion. You just saw it with the kayak and canoe team. For some kids, that's art. As an educational leader who's seen our kids struggle through COVID and coming out of COVID, and I know you're probably also familiar with a lot of research about what youth have been going through with depression and anxiety and suicide. So the more we can proactively find ways to engage students, the better off we're going to be. The district is committed to expanding and enriching our arts programs. We just completed an arts audit and developed a multi-year plan. The plan is going to includes improving our offerings, our facilities, and our overall support of art education. We had 3 elementary schools receive multiple grants, what we were calling our Arts Infusion cohort, and we expect others of our schools to jump into and to see how those kids are learning math using art and all kinds of ways of being very creative to work arts into our education has been inspiring. So what we think that this cultural access program would do would be able to provide some connections with us, with our community partners like Hands on Art, the Harbor History Museum, and many others, and others that we haven't come up with yet that could be supported by what the being part of this designation would allow for them. So we've always had a strong partnership with the city, and we hope you consider the cultural access program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next commenter, Keith Dodgett. Are you still here? Okay, we will move on to Barbara Dix. Okay. Okay, I will remove her from there. Thank you. Trevor Nordine. And if you would please state your full name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes and a timer up.
Okay. My name is Trevor Nordine. I'm at 11533 Hudson Lane, Gig Harbor 98332. I am a Gig Harbor Boat Shop staff member with a note of support for Cultural Access Gig Harbor. On behalf of Gig Harbor Boat Shop and our board of directors, the Gig Harbor Boat Shop endorses the Cultural Access Gig Harbor initiative to support baseline funding for local nonprofit organizations who have demonstrated a commitment to providing both student-oriented and public at large programming. The sales tax levy will make it possible for the boat shop to work with schools and other organizations to expand our repertoire of classes, workshops, and cultural events appropriate for children, teens, and adults. Examples include boat building, basic hand tool usage, nautical story hour, maritime summer camps, and more. We're also equipped and staffed to operate a small rental fleet of rowboats and electric launches, as well as a historic Thunderbird sailboat and a 65-foot purse seiner named Veteran. These vessels were built and restored here in Gig Harbor and are utilized for a variety of educational programming. Cultural Access Gig Harbor would substantially contribute to the boat shop's ability to retain 9 part-time and/or seasonal staff, most with waterfront or other maritime experience, and provide volunteer opportunities for highly qualified and experienced retirees, many of whom have education backgrounds and experience working with children and teens. We recognize that the use of funds from Cultural Access Gig Harbor are stipulated in the existing RCW 36.160. We agree to abide by that law and do our best to uphold the faith of our citizens and the City Council in the appropriate use of any funds obtained through this program. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next commenter is, I believe, Tracy Von Trotha. Welcome, and if you could state your full name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes. Thank you.
My name is Tracy Von Trotha. I live at 6812 95th Street, Court Northwest, Gig Harbor, Washington, 98332. Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm here to comment on a non-agenda item, the proposed flag display policy. I have a question. If a flag is not noted within federal or state law, should any unofficial or commemorative flag be included in the draft flag policy? At the June 12th council meeting and the June 15th study session, it was shared that MRSC recommended the city have a flag policy prior to determining one group over another so that council can consider that as a whole. So the question, should any unofficial or commemorative flag be included in the draft flag policy? Also, 3 of the 6 flags in the draft policy include their official definition. What is the definition of the other 3 flags? I suppose the Puyallup Tribe of Indians flag and Sister City flags to be official flags with official definitions. I ask council to provide clarification on the definition of all flags in the proposed flag policy at the upcoming council study session. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next commenter is Stephanie Lau. And if you could state your full name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, Stephanie Lyle, the director at the, hello. I can see you. Stephanie Lyle for the Harbor History Museum at 4121 Harborview Drive. And like my wonderful colleagues, I'm here just to keep the light on about cultural access, just to keep it fresh in your minds and to provide an update on why this program is so critical to our city and all the people our city serves. As you know, cultural access is a piece of legislation that enacts a 0.1% increase to local sales tax. This increase would represent just $10 to $12 per year per household. which is a lot. It's actually less than a single adult movie ticket. So one movie ticket, two coffees maybe per family per year. This small investment can enact a world of service to the children and adults throughout our community by providing necessary funding for the nonprofit organizations who provide public and school programs throughout the area. It inspires coordination and collaboration between organizations and the school district. We just heard from them and the boat shop, and it opens the door to cultural programming for all, not just those who can afford it. In the bigger picture, the Cultural Access Program is extremely important, especially at this time, because recent national reports show that in 2022, donations to nonprofits as a percentage of disposable personal income fell to a 40-year low. That's a big deal, and all of us are feeling it. While the Ad Hoc Committee for Cultural Access Gig Harbor is meeting later this month, we want to keep shining the light on this program and encouraging you to take action in support of organizations that provide a tremendous public benefit in our community. These include Harbor Wild Watch, Peninsula Hands on Art, the Gig Harbor Boat Shop, the Harbor History Museum, and many more. If you vote to enact this legislation in 2023, funds would be gathered in 2024 and available to support these organizations in 2025. Cultural Access opens doors to history, science, cultural traditions, heritage arts, and a wide range of visual and performing arts by providing operating and program support to organizations that are uniquely qualified, many with very professional staffs, to provide these community programs. So thank you for giving us this 3 minutes and for listening to us tonight. We really appreciate your consideration of this program. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I don't have any other names on the sign-up sheet, but if you're here in the audience and you wish to speak on an item that is not on the agenda or on the consent agenda this evening, you can come forward at this time. And again, if you just would state your full name and address for the record, please.
My name is Felicia Featherstone. I live at 5003 19th Street Northwest. I want to talk about the pride flag, and I want to say that some flags unite people, like the United States flag unites all Americans. It represents all Americans. The Washington State flag unites all people in Washington State. It is not only divisive, but where does this end? It is unlimited, literally, an endless amount of flags we could have to separate and divide groups of people. To put one group of people above another group or other citizens, another group or other citizens is wrong and should never be allowed. Let's focus on topics that unite all citizens in the community. This is a selective and biased topic, and the city council apparently deems it's worthy for public discussion. I don't get it. So this flag, the American flag, unites everyone. And let's keep it simple. You know that phrase, keep it simple, keep it simple so people understand what we stand for. We shouldn't be all over the place. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak? Okay. If you would please state your full name and address for the record. Thank you.
Scan Manning, 6325 Woodhill Drive, Gig Harbor. It's on the west side of the city, if you don't know where that is. I'm a lifelong resident of our fine city and a commercial fisherman. I'd like to thank the city for all the support they give to men like me who make a living from the sea, but that's not the reason I'm here this evening. I'm here to comment on the flag proposal. I realize it's not on the agenda, but I know you're going to be taking it up at your work session on the 17th. And I'd just like to say that we all just took a pledge to this flag that's behind you. One nation under God, indivisible,
I don't think that can be mistaken for any other than just what it means. And I'd like to just remind the council to keep that in mind as you consider this proposal to create a flag policy for our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your full name and address for the record. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Tom Wichaskala. I live at 5218 64th Avenue Northwest, Gig Harbor. I recently moved here from Seattle, Washington, and I butted heads with the Seattle City Council numerous times. And I will be upfront. I'm a recovered addict. I've got 35 years under my belt, and I continually argued with them on their drug policies. And you can see what it's led to in Seattle. And now when I read this flag thing, I couldn't believe it. That people are actually talking about hanging a flag that all it is it relates to sex. And we've got it in the schools now, elementary schools. And I thought this was a rather conservative community. And I was under the impression this was being put off till next meeting. So I didn't prepare any statements. But to even consider flying a flag under an American flag, all it is a flag that represents different sexual orientations. And for me, it just overwhelms me to think that anybody would even consider that. And to put it into such a nice community like this, to placate such a small group of people, it's just turning into such a fallen state. And I'm a conservative Christian. I'll put that right up in front. And I don't know what pushes people in that direction, but that's, right off the top of my head, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak this evening? Oh, there's a couple of you. You can come forward as well, closer if you want. And if you would please state your full name and address for the record. Yeah, I know, I have to say it every time.
I know you do. Do I have to push a button? No, I'm good. Okay. My name is Linda Daniels and I'm at 9109 69th Avenue Northwest, Gig Harbor, Washington, 98332. I am also here for the flag policy. First of all, thank you for opening it up so we can discuss this. I didn't really expect to talk this evening, didn't really expect to be here, but my son is a disabled Marine and he served our country. And the American flag is what represents all of us in the United States of America. And to start putting up other flags other than our state flag with these American flags is wrong. And then where is it going to stop? I mean, first we want this flag and then, there's no POW flag, there's no Marine flag. I mean, we don't fly that with the United States, other places we do where veterans are located and at veterans parks. But I just really feel that the only flag that we should be flying in our city is the American flag to represent all of us and the American people. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak this evening? And if you please state your full name and address for the record.
Thank you, and good to be here with the City Council and you, Tracy. I'm Marlon Jensen, 6409 Rosedale Street Northwest, Gig Harbor. I wasn't going to testify tonight or talk, but I have to tell you, my brother died serving our country. I love the American flag. I love the state flag. But I think that when we start extending all kinds of flags, I always believe it's better to keep things simple and sane, not simple and stupid, because being simple is not stupid, it's sane. Keeping things sane and getting along with everyone in our community. And I know you probably have had so many people telling you how you feel on this issue. I better not run out of time. I can talk forever. Anyway, I have to tell you that first of all, the gay pride flag is already covered under human rights. You know, they are one of the human rights. I think they should have equal rights in this country. No one says they shouldn't have equal rights, but I do not think they should have special rights. And flying this flag or some of the other flags, and I'm part Indian, by the way. And if you fly one tribe, who do you offend of the other tribes? I mean, a lot of people have some Indian in them. And, you know, you just are better off to just keep it simple, the great American flag and the state flag of Washington. And in some cases, the city of, you know, different cities have flags. So I'm just all for trying to get along in this little beautiful community that we all love so much. We love everyone, even when we don't agree with them, right, Jenny? Anyway, I just want to tell you that I'm representing several thousand people when I come forward tonight. So anyway, thank you for your job. You do.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience this evening that wishes to speak on a item not on the agenda or on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, I will turn to our online audience. Welcome to all of you that are watching online. If you would like to speak this evening, you can push the *9 button on your phone or the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom window. Okay, not seeing any hands. We will close public comment on the consent agenda and items not on the consent agenda. And I will turn it over to Councilmember Wook to explain her reasons for taking item number 3, which is the appointment of Libby Norris, Lucian Duge, and Eleanor Schroeder to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Mayor, if I could interrupt, we need to vote on the remaining consent agenda items first. and then we
Oh,
can-
yes, thank you for that reminder. So much celebrating, I forgot what I'm supposed to be doing here. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion
Oh.
to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
All right, did you catch who was first and second? Okay, good thing you did, because that was like everyone talking at one time. Awesome, great. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, motion passes 7-0 for the consent agenda. All right. So considering just item number 3, appointees to the Historic Preservation Commission, I will turn it over to Councilmember Wook.
Yes, I supported all the other items on the consent agenda, and I wanted to remove this item so we could just vote on it independently. It's not something that I support. Thank you.
Okay. No public comment, right, on when something's pulled off? Okay. So all those in favor of item 3, appointment of Libby Norris, Lucian Duge, and Eleanor Schroeder to the Historic Preservation Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there a
What's your
motion
motion?
to approve the appointment of Libby Norris, Lucian Duge, and Eleanor Schroeder to the Historic Preservation Commission?
I'll make a motion to approve. Oh, you go ahead. Thank you. No,
I didn't see any lights, I'm sorry, and
you go ahead.
okay.
I move that the mayor appoint Lucian Doge, Eleanor Schroeder, and Libby Norris to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Okay, seconded by Councilmember Martin. Okay, I'm going to do a roll call vote. Councilmember Wook,
Nay.
Councilmember Storsett,
Yes.
Councilmember Rodenberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Likens,
Aye.
Councilmember Henderson,
Aye.
Councilmember Martin,
Aye.
And Councilmember Barber.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 6-1. Thank you, council. All right. Moving on to my mayor's report, I just wanted to give a brief recap of a meeting that City Administrator Knutson and I attended on last Thursday, the 10th. It was held at the City of Lakewood, City Hall. And I am very grateful to their mayor and city manager or city administrator for hosting this meeting. It was, how many mayors would you say, or just people around the table? I was counting probably 20 plus.
I believe all Pierce County cities were represented except for 2.
Yeah, so there were a lot of us there. The purpose was to have a roundtable discussion around 4 specific items that were that have been on all of our minds: public safety and police pursuits, specifically public safety officer recruitment and retention, the Blake fix, the fix of the last legislative session, and behavioral health and substance abuse issues. We had a very robust conversation. It was wonderful to know that Gig Harbor is not alone. It didn't seem to matter the size of the city. We are all dealing with the same issues and the same struggles. And so there were a lot of challenges shared, but also a lot of ideas shared among the group about the legislation passed in 2021 that kind of started us on this path with police pursuits and kind of the difficulties that our officers are now having in being able to pursue for crimes. And then, and I've told you all, we're not resting during legislative sessions. We're still working very hard to come up with some ideas and some strategies for the upcoming legislative session, which will be a short session this January that will start. But I'm just, we were able to also hear from the Lakewood Chief of Police and one of their officers as well. And they spoke to us just from personal experience of what the last couple of years has been like, very similar to what I've heard from our own Chief Busey and our officers that are out there every day. Other topics that were discussed were officer wellness. This is very important to me that our officers are remaining strong physically and mentally as well in these trying times. We spoke about juvenile crime, the need for designated crisis responders, therapeutic courts, community safety officers, funding for various mental health and substance abuse facilities, and much more. I was really honored to be at the table with such a collaborative group of elected officials and city staff that were representing our Pierce County cities. So I'm looking forward to a couple of upcoming meetings, a little bit smaller groups. We're going to meet in smaller groups and then come back together again in the next month or 2 and kind of see what we've all come up with, and hope to go into the next session gently. We know there's a lot of fatigue around this issue and our legislators are burnt out still. However, there is still work that needs to be done, and they do need to know how our cities are feeling and what we're experiencing. So we will not rest on these issues, and very excited to share an update with you as they become available. So that concludes my report, and I will turn it over to our city administrator, Katrina Knutson, for her report.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. 3 items tonight. First, since the mayor just talked about public safety, I will say that the #1 recruiting priority for the city right now is our police department. As you know from a previous council meeting, we had 2 retirements taking place, as well as 4 new officers that you put into the budget for this year, or into the biennial budget. And so we're currently recruiting for 6 police officers. So I say that today in hopes that you will tell your friends and neighbors, anyone that's connected to the law enforcement community, that we're looking for great officers to join us and potentially join the ranks of those tonight getting life-saving awards and doing wonderful work here in the Gig Harbor community. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to Chief Busey or myself.
But thank you so much for telling whoever you know that may be a good candidate for that. The second recruitment update is I'm happy to note that we were able to interview 7 candidates for the Housing, Health and Human Services position program manager last week. We received 27 qualified candidates for this position, and it was very difficult to narrow it down to those that are the most qualified. From that group, the interview panel has selected 3 candidates to move forward for second interviews that will take place with the police chief, the fire chief, the judge, as well as our community development director. And those 4 were noted because this position will be assisting in all of those departments, hopefully helping out with housing, health, and human service related needs. So we look forward to conducting those second interviews and selecting a candidate to begin work on that important work. Secondly, I want to note there have been media reports of the Puyallup tribe flying out of Tacoma, Ruston Way, now with a partnership with Kenmore Air. At one point in time, there was potentially a connection via foot ferry that the Puyallup tribe was considering, and I know that we mentioned that to council and the public previously. The Puyallup tribe has opted not to conduct or pursue that foot ferry at this time, so we will no longer be looking at a potential landing site here for that foot ferry, at least through this project. So that has been something that has been a regular ask of our front desk staff. And so I wanted to let you all know, for those that you talk to, that that is no longer being pursued by the tribe at this time. And then lastly, National Suicide Prevention Week starts on September 10th. And you may have noted in our department updates that we are planning an art display in order to further the cause of prevention and signs of suicide. As we saw tonight with 2 of our officers saving lives, we would like to do a little bit more on the prevention side and help people understand what suicide prevention is and what some of the warning signs of suicide are, so that we as a community can work together to hopefully reduce the suicide rates in our community. We were able to receive artwork that is, I won't say, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but it is something that you will be able to go sit on and take a photo. And it will be either here at the Civic Center or down at Scansey Park. And so more details on that are forthcoming, but this is something that the mayor and I know several council members feel very strongly about. And so we're very happy to offer this to our community this year. And then, because there's folks here for the Cultural Access Ad Hoc Group, I just want to mention that the first item in our department update this week is an update on the Ad Hoc Committee for Cultural Access. And that first meeting will be here at the Civic Center on August 28th. And invites have already gone out for that. So we are prepped and ready to go. And a report from that meeting will come to council shortly after. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you very much. I will now open it up to the council for reports and comments. Councilmember Henderson. Okay, Councilmember Barber.
The mayor just wants our new system so that she'll know for sure who's.
Yes, I do. I'm very much looking forward to our new system.
I wanted to talk for just a couple minutes tonight, or probably more like a minute, about speeding in the community. As I've been out and about and talking to people at the farmer's market, that kind of thing, speeding in our neighborhoods is one of the most prevalent conversations that comes up. And people are talking about and conjecturing and supposing about solutions that could happen to speeding and for traffic calming in our residential areas. I've personally also noticed an increase in speeding on our residential streets, but it seems to be a general and worthwhile concern for many people in our community. So I would like to request time on a study session soon that involves pertinent staff, like the chief of police or someone from the police staff and probably public works, so that we can discuss data about what is happening and also potentially try to come up with some solutions to speeding and traffic calming in the community. And I'm assuming that some of these will be short-term fixes and some of them will be long-term fixes. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just like to give a brief update on my first meeting with the Pierce County Flood Control Zone District. I'm one of the advisory members on it, representing Gig Harbor and everybody else. To keep it short, we were going through our budget, and there's two notable things I think we need to know. We had a very large discussion, actually a lengthy discussion, about keeping the levy rate, LEVY, not LEVEE, at 10 cents per $1,000 or dropping it to 9 cents per $1,000. The advisory board made a decision to recommend keeping it at 10 cents per $1,000, mostly because of issues related to climate change and the fact that if we don't get as much money coming in, then there'll be fewer dollars for flood control, flood defense type projects. So that went ahead. That'll be given to the Pierce County Council to actually vote on. And then the last thing is a little bit of good news for the city of Gig Harbor. Within all these funds, there is a fund called the Opportunity Fund, which is given to every city that's in Pierce County. And it's actually based on your assessed values. And so you can imagine that some very small cities get not very much money. Some are only getting $700 or $800 a year. And I can guarantee you can't do much with that. Gig Harbor was getting a fair chunk of money. So what we also then are recommended for the Pierce County Council to perhaps vote on is set a baseline for every city of $50,000. That way every city, whether it's Orting or whether it's Gig Harbor or whether or not, some other cities, that's their baseline. Some cities get more. Tacoma gets a whole lot more because they have a larger problem, a larger issue, and so does Pierce County itself. So that's going to go. Now, if that is voted in by the Pierce County Council, then City of Gig Harbor will gain a little extra money. And these opportunity funds are actually kind of neat. They're not tied to too many things, just flood control, but it's pretty darn, it's open. So, and they would love us to actually spend the money. And so one other thing we recommended is that it's time that perhaps we put a little bit of a carrot and a stick out there that says, if you get this money, let's get it spent within this time. And we're gonna have to figure out what legislation we would have written up. So if they don't, does that money go back into the opportunity fund? Does it get spread to somebody else that could use it? So, because there's been a lot of money sitting there, and several people from the council were there at our meeting and saying that some residents are getting upset because and cities that money's being taken out for this levy and then there's nothing happening. My personal experience with flood control projects is they take a very, very long time. Just in the acquisition of real estate, which is critical, that can take years and years and years, and people are sitting and say, well, where's all this money going? And we aren't building it. So anyway, it was an excellent meeting, and I think that's the last one this year. So
Thank you very much. Great info. Councilmember Wook.
Yes, thank you. So every month I have a listening meeting, and this month is August the 22nd for Jenny Listens. It'll be 10 a.m. at Cutter's Point on Olympic in the Bartell Shopping Center. And my special guest this month is City Administrator Knudsen. So I'm looking forward to having you there and answering questions and talking to citizens. I imagine we'll have a big crowd when I start publicizing you'll be there. So thanks for being there. And I look forward to seeing some other citizens there. Thanks.
She is kind of a celebrity now, Announcement of upcoming meetings. I love that we now have our department updates attached to every agenda. Not only do they go out in the Gigabyte, but you can also get them on the Agenda Center, as well as our strategic plan and announcement of tentative schedule for upcoming meetings. So we will now go into executive session for 10 minutes to discuss potential litigation per RCW 42.30.110(1I). Action will not be taken following the executive session.
City Council meeting is extended for an additional 5 minutes until 7:03 p.m.
Recording in progress.
Okay, welcome back to the Big Harbor City Council study session of Monday, August 14th, 2023. We have returned from executive session and I will now entertain a motion to adjourn. I move that we adjourn. Second. All those in favor say aye. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.